Do you know anyone who has played with him? I mean, I would love some insight on, why he's been the way he's been, and he seems to have taken it to the next level. It's not like the Raiders haven't treated him well, in spite of, a lot of challenges during the preseason. I don't get where he's coming from.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but, if you look at this guy's history, him and getting into it with Ben Roethlisberger and the fact that Pittsburgh was able to let him go after a year where he led the NFL with 15 touchdown receptions. That just shows you that they were kind of tired of him in Pittsburgh, and it seems like it's carried over there to the Raiders. So it's unfortunate, like I said, because he's got. If you look at his resume as a ball player, as with his 100 reception seasons, or no one's ever done that in NFL history. I mean, he's putting together a Hall of Fame resume, but he's putting together more off-the-field shenanigans than anything right now.
Is it unfair when we label lots of the receivers divas? Because they're not all like this.
It is unfair when you label all the receivers, lots of them.
Right.
But, you can only go with what he's giving you right now. And, right now it seems like he's putting himself above the team. And that's just not a winning formula. It seems like whether it was the helmet issue or missing practice, he's kind of just doing his own thing, and the Raiders are going in a different direction. So, to me, if I'm the general manager, if I'm the head coach, I'm seriously thinking about suspending him for a couple of weeks, sitting him down, and maybe he'll come to the realization that he loves the game and he's missing it too much, and he needs to get in line with all the rest of the players.
So you think there's a chance this could work? Because we've had some media people, and again, they're on the outside, say, hey, beyond salvaging at this point. You think this action can work and they can finally get through to AB?
I don't know. I don't know if it can work. I don't know if it's a suspension and bring him back in a couple of games, or if it's, let's try to suspend him and release him and get our money back, basically, because that's the way that they can, get their signing bonus back. And if he's on the roster for the first game, as a veteran, he's guaranteed his salary for this year. So, we'll see what the Raiders do.
That's the voice of former NFL tight end Byron Chamberlain. He's in town for the celebrity grudge match, or at least he's coming to town, between the Raiders and the Broncos golf tournament at Aliante. You can register, and we'll send this out on Twitter at celebritygrudgematch.eventbrite.com. And there's a ton of former Raiders and Broncos coming out. A lot of the guys we've talked to were like, you know what, I'm okay at golf. How are you?
I am an avid golfer.
Here we go. Here we go.
I'll tell you what, a lot of people don't know this about me. Golf is my first sport. I picked up golf when I was about 9 or 10 years old from my grandfather. Started learning how to play back then. I didn't get into football until I was in high school, so I definitely played golf longer than I played football.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit more about what it was like on those Super Bowl championship Broncos teams, because we're going to become a Raiders town here, and all we hear about is culture, right? And what's going on with the culture of the Raiders and Antonio Brown. What is it like when you're in one of those championship cultures like you were in Denver?
I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and they asked me the exact same thing about the teams there, the team that I played on there. One of the things that I can vividly remember about our teams is we genuinely love to be around each other. We would have guys, I remember one time we had our linebacker, John Mobley, talk to a couple of guys in the locker room. Hey, guys, let's go bowling. I'm going to reserve a couple of lanes at the bowling alley. And 30 guys show up. We'd have guys, make a foursome to play golf. And, 20 guys would show up because we just genuinely loved being around each other, whether it was competing on the football field or doing things away from the game. And it was just, that type of camaraderie that, that you need to win a championship. And, our locker room was was never divided. We never had any diva receivers. We actually had some tough guys, man. Ed McCaffrey and Rod Smith. Those guys were the antithesis of divas. You know, they felt like they were one of the guys like us. I remember one of the things that we would discuss with those guys is, hey, when Terrell's running the ball, you're part of this. You're part of the running game. So you need to get your blocks just like we got to get them up front. So that was kind of the culture there. We just loved being around each other, loved competing, loved fighting together, man, and loved winning.
When you look at, you just talked about the blocking with the receivers, and I'm curious about how you've seen the evolution of the tight end position in the NFL. You know, I'm a Giants fan. Evan Engram is kind of more of a receiver than he is a blocker. Everything we talk about with Darren Waller with the Raiders this year, talk about the leaping ability and so on. What have you seen in terms of how the position has evolved?
Well, I think the position is evolving as much, just kind of like in line with where the NFL is going. It's going to a passing league. You see the numbers that are being put up by receivers and tight ends and quarterbacks now. You see the rule changes where you can't hit a defenseless receiver, or a lot of the contact played has been been taken out of the league. So it makes it advantageous for teams to throw the ball. It makes it fans are looking for that type of excitement as well. I remember I live in Los Angeles right now, and I was at that Monday night game where the Raiders played the Kansas City Chiefs, and it was 54-52 or something like crazy like that. I think that's where the league is going. You see the devaluing of the running back position. Although we see Ezekiel Elliott get his money this week, but that position has been devalued because we're going more and more to the passing game. So I see that's where the tight end is going. They're making these guys and drafting guys who are more receivers than blockers or anything. So as long as they can be adequate targets in the passing game, they're not worrying about whether these guys can get down in line and block for the running game.
Byron Chamberlain's on the horn with us. He's in a golf tournament this weekend, the grudge match between the Raiders and the Broncos. Other celebs out there, Mervyn Fernandez, Ron Brown, Jerry Porter, Greg Bell, Andrew Glover, Rick Upchurch, Dennis Smith, Mark Jackson. Byron himself is going to be there as well playing golf, and he just said, hey, pretty avid golfer. You can get in the golf tournament by going to celebritygrudgematch.eventbrite.com. I want to close on a couple of things about John Elway. First of all, when you got there, what was John Elway like? Because he's well into his career at that point, but what was he like in terms of being a leader?
Man, he's the greatest leader I've ever been around. It's the funny thing about it was my rookie year. I remember the very first day I get to our team meeting, my first day in the building. I want to make a good impression, so I get there early, sit in the front row, and guys are starting to trickle into the meeting. I notice guys kind of looking at me and kind of snickering and kind of laughing. I'm like, what's this all about? And I get a tap on the shoulder. I turn around, I look, and it's John Elway. He's like, hey, buddy, you're in my seat. So, very first day, rookie mistake, sits in John Elway's seat, man. And but no, he was good. He was good, man. He was a great leader. One of the most competitive guys I've ever seen. This guy truly hate losing, and would do anything he had to do to get our teams to win. You saw, him in Super Bowl 32 take the old man, take the leap over, 3 Packers and do the helicopter deal. And, I just remember that guy would do anything humanly possible to win a game.
Well, let's close on this. I want to talk about his competitiveness and his fire because, early in your career, you're just looking at some of the old records and seasons, and I was around, but I forget things. 96, you guys were 13-3. You lose to Jacksonville, right? I mean, Jackson's not supposed to beat you guys. Now, we're talking at that point, John Elway's lost multiple Super Bowls. The Broncos got freaking smoked in some of those Super Bowls. I mean, I can't even imagine the way we in the media would talk about John Elway now because we're so hot take on everything and, oh, he's a loser and he can't win the big one. I just wonder what Elway's mindset was going into those, that Super Bowl that you won. Like how much pressure he was under, or if he was just cool as a cucumber.
I know he felt the pressure. He didn't want to be the guy, that goes to. I think he had been in 3 before that, so going into his 4 Super Bowls to lose 4, and he knew the clock was against him. He knew he only had so much time, and we knew. And a lot of us young players, we kind of felt like Super Bowl 32 might be John's last game, and we never talked about it in the media, but amongst ourselves, we kind of talked about it and said, hey, this guy's last shot. We got to go out there and get it done for him. Right. And it's a funny situation that was this one Super Bowl that we really didn't rely on John as much. We put the ball in Terrell Davis's hands, and he delivered. Our offensive line had a phenomenal day blocking. Terrell had an awesome day rushing. I think 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. And John really didn't have to do the heavy lifting. So I just know, the relief that he felt after getting that monkey off his back.
I'm sure. Yeah, it was always an all-time great quarterback, but unfortunately we measure these things by victories. Now, let's close on this, Byron, because I know I'm sure you play in a lot of these celebrity golf tournaments. Tell the fans what it's like at these tournaments in terms of, the opportunity to hang out with the former NFL players.
Yeah, we'll have a good time, man. It's we're gonna have a meet and greet tomorrow at the casino and resort. You'll get a chance to take photos and autographs. Talk story with us, man. That's one of the things that we love as former players. We love meeting our fans and talking those stories about the games that they remember, the moments that they remember, and you'll have that opportunity as well as getting out on the golf course and playing with us for the golf tournament. So you can go to Celebrity Grudge Match, sign up. I think there's still some spots available, so We'd love to have you.